Hey everybody, welcome to a very special episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is Brian CP Steele, and I'm going to be your nerd today, and every day that you watch my channel. So I said this is a very special episode because it's not one that has a topic. The topic is itself. The reason for it, frankly, is because this is video 52. I'm not counting the week off that I took when I was sick, but it is effectively 1 year of being a channel, of doing this. And I just kind of wanted to take, I don't expect this will be a very long episode, but I did want to just kind of take a few minutes and kind of kick back and look over the last year and all of the craziness, all of the things that have happened in my life, why I started this channel, where it's gone, what I've kind of changed it into, and where it's going. Because I think I owe it to you guys to take a breather every once in a while and just kind of reset the clock. A year. Let's see. The year has been. I did my first video for the channel on April 12th, I think, of 2019. A few scant months after I lost my steady gig at Kumani or Not, or Simon or Kaman, or whatever you want to call it, at that time. And when I started this channel, when I started doing these videos, it was a way for me to verbalize and get the, I don't know, the to get the stuff off my chest about the industry, to talk about what it takes to succeed, to discuss what I do on a day-to-day basis. You know, basically, I was really sort of floating through limbo, having gone from a steady, very lucrative job to being thrown back into the maelstrom of freelance life, as it were, unprepared and unexpected. It was rough, you know. Combined that with my my wife's health problems going up and down, medical bills, you know, the whole nine yards. Some of which we're still paying off. But you know, I stuck to it. I found extra time to either play video games online with my friends, or I dove headfirst into several role-playing game chronicles, some which didn't make it very far, some that are still ongoing, others which we're looking at ways to play them over digital media, because right now we can't get together in person because of this whole coronavirus thing. But basically, I did everything I could to kind of keep my sanity. And if you watch some of those earlier videos, which I definitely say you should, you can tell that my sanity was a little it was a little fractured. It was that my will to get up and work every day and try and find people to buy my games and buy my writing and contract me for work, and it really it roller coastered there for a little while. Some of those earlier videos, you can really tell. I know I've gone back and watched them a few times, not just to get the extra hits on the videos, just because I want to see how I've changed. But it you could tell, I could see it in my eyes, that there were some pretty bleak, videos where I didn't want to get on the video and just basically cry at you and be like, life is terrible. Instead, I kind of wanted to turn that around and grab a hold of a topic and grab a hold of a facet of my industry or my life or my career or whatever I happen to be working on at the time, and kind of put it all out there for you guys to see and to listen and hopefully comment and talk about. And in the beginning, I wanted this to be a way for me to journal sort of my journey as a freelancer. And while I still do that every episode with the Week in Bryan, I do think that the channel has transformed slightly into discussing more about kind of my passions as a gamer and as a freelancer. Kind of tips of the trade, ways to have fun and not injure people's feelings. Like I've tried to turn this into kind of a vehicle for positivity. In a gaming sense, whether it's one side of the industry or the other. And in this case, it helped me as much as I hope it helped people out there in cyberspace land find what they were looking for or have a laugh when they needed one. Even if it was someone making fun of my goofiness at my expense, whatever the case may be, I hope that it did it left some kind of positive impact on people, because it was definitely an engine for positive feelings for me. I looked forward every week to figuring out what I was going to talk about. I still do. I try and rack my brain to what kind of topic. I don't want to go back and redo a topic that I've done before. I'm hoping to get hopefully more unboxings and some review stuff so I can review products for people. But I've been so busy lately in a good way that I haven't had a chance to really ask anyone for product or be like, hey, do you have anything that you would like reviewed? I really haven't. It hasn't come across that way because I've been busy with other things, and which is again a good thing. But as I look back over the last year of the things that we as a community, whether it's you fans or my friends or the industry as a whole, what has come together and what has gelled. I know for a fact there were several months there that I would not have been able to get by financially if it wasn't for some help to my wife's medical GoFundMe. We still have some outstanding debt on it, but at the hardest of times, you viewers came together and helped in ways that I can't express. When I'm literally not sleeping trying to put out as much freelance work as I possibly can in order to make the ends meet, if it gets an opportunity, or if I get an opportunity to basically take a day off because I get this email that says, hey, GoFund, someone dropped $100 in a GoFundMe, that's going to take care of the electric bill this month, or that'll pay off the last of her anesthesiologist that we owe. That was at that time. I'm not a religious person, but it was a miracle that stuff was happening. I don't believe in things like that, but I do believe in the power of my fellow people, and especially in the case of the industry around us. I think for the most part, yeah, there's some curmudgeons out there, and there's some grumps, and there's some assholes, pardon my profanity. But I think for the most part, as an industry, we've got some good people, especially good people in places in positions of power, within several companies. There's still some dinosaurs lingering on that aren't doing us any favors, but for the most part, I think as an industry, it's tight. We're doing a good job, and the fact that I was able to go from quite literally selling things that I didn't want to part with just in order to make ends meet when there were no contracts to be had, to where I'm at now. I have to put out a giant cosmic thank you to everybody and everyone that's been a part of that. So if you watch this and you have ever forwarded one of my links, or if you've ever shared one of my videos, or donated to the GoFundMe, or in the case of a couple of people, sent me random gifts because I said something about wanting, not really having the wherewithal to get something, but I really wanted to be able to paint it at some point. That's happened 2 or 3 times over the last year. One to the point of unbelievable generosity. But overall, it's been a great time. I kind of want to run over a handful of highlights. I made some notes over just some things that's happened over the last year, and I think that I can't say that, obviously the YouTube channel did it, because I don't know, maybe somebody didn't see the video. I know that there's been a couple of people that have contacted me. They said, hey, I saw you on your video. I want to discuss things. I want to point out the fact that the video just 2 weeks ago that I sort of let the cat out of the bag about Warzone, about working on Warzone, which is still an awesome, I'm still jazzed over the moon that I'm doing that. But the fact that video, which really didn't get that deep. In fact, going back, I forgot to talk about some of the corporations. I forgot to talk about the tribes of Dark Eden. Again, if you're not familiar with it, you're going to go, oh, okay, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't really talk about, the other apostles. But whatever the case may be, that video became, it is at this point, has gotten over 1,200 views in 2 weeks, which I know for viral videos, it's nothing. But for me, that's huge. For a channel like mine that's really kind of still getting off the ground and is very, aimed at a niche market, that's massive. I got somewhere almost 100 new subscribers just because of mentioning Warzone and the fact that I'm part of that project, which, again, I can't thank my friends at Resnova. I cannot thank Alex enough for thinking of me and headhunting me for this project. I have not been more excited for a project in a long time, for a miniatures game project, a contracted one anyway. Obviously some of the ones that I'm working on unofficially, Transformers, would blow my mind. But either way, this is a huge opportunity, and it's like being handed a toy that you forgot how much you loved, and being told, okay, you get to clean this up, you get to make it cool again, and make a bunch of friends for him, and then give it to your kid. I'm looking forward so much for our new Warzone to get out there and get people, even if it's people who don't like what we're doing. I want to talk to them about it. I want to have it part of the conversation. I want them to look through my rule book and find my Easter eggs. I used to do it at the Dark Age all the time, is drop little either narrative Easter eggs in the fiction or rule point Easter eggs, where they're like, that special rule is not on any single model. Because as a designer, I don't work that way. I don't work, within the confines of the box. I want you to think about the future. I want this game, I'm never happy with a one and done. Everything should have a future. And in the case of designing Warzone stuff, the future, a lot of what has already been done is the future for Warzone, but not with our flavor, not with our style and our rules and our vision of what we want to happen on this tabletop. So yeah, someone might I've already mentioned that I can't wait for us to get to having models that serve the apostle of the dark apostle of Mwawahe. Mwawahe, do 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 do. Mwawahe, do 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 do. Mwawahe, do 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 do. All right, now that he's the cult of madness, and you have to do that. But yeah, so everybody knows I want to get to Mwawahe's troops. But initially, I don't have that right in front of me. That's not something that I can just go, ba-dam. But it doesn't mean that when they're looking through that rule book, when they're looking through that initial set of stuff, that they're not going to see rules that scream at them, oh, that's made for the Cult of Madness. They're obviously. That's what I do. I want to make sure that I sow all the seeds and that the fields are ripe with ideas and getting people to talk. And, I opened up a Q&A thread just about, initially I kind of wanted it to just be about me, self-centered egotist that I am apparently. But it turned into talking more about Warzone, which is fine because it was a Warzone forum. There was a Warzone Facebook group. And it got over 300 comments like that, like in the course of a week. And I want those kinds of threads to erupt about the stuff that we're working on and getting people to talk about what do you think's coming next, or hey, did you see this thing on page blah blah blah? I want to know about blah blah blah. That's what I'm looking forward to, and that's the kind of passion that I feel for any kind of project that I really have my heart into. And this channel, again, full circle, this channel helped me keep that passion going. A year ago, I was in a really pretty dark spot. Those first couple months were rough. And I won't lie, I had a lot of difficult conversations, and a lot of a lot of comments from people who don't understand the position that we're put in as artists and as creatives, especially those who have managed to survive in their creative industry for as long as they do, and thrive, to have to leave that behind, to give up on that, to basically give up the dream and go, it's just not working. It's hard. It is a nightmare. It is a literal waking cold sweat middle of the night type nightmare. And I do believe that, although I know that several people felt they meant for the best when they were saying the things that they just don't understand. And it is one of the reasons why I started the channel, is to try and hopefully get people to understand. Because if I can get one person to watch one of my videos, and that when their friend the painter, or their friend the writer, or the underwater basket weaver, when they get laid off, or when they have a rough patch, instead of looking at them and saying, when are you going to go get a real job? Or here are all the links to the job sites for the most menial of things that are as far away from your passion as possible. That instead of forwarding those links to them, is waiting a few and asking them, hey, how are you feeling? I know it's got to be rough. What can I do to help you right now? And that's the kind of thing I wanted to start with this channel. Is I wanted people to understand what it's like to be a creative, to be a freelancer, to even if I'm not a freelancer, even if I'm working for someone steady, there's always that fear. There's always that, is there someone better than me? Am I going to lose my job next week because of the project gets canceled, or the company I'm working for gets swallowed up by another company. I mean, like, there are all kinds of things that can really cause ripples in the pond, and the tribulations of being a I don't want to say an unskilled laborer, because that's not the case. Is a creative, in the fact that our jobs are not protected except by the strength of what we do. I'd like to think that I've been doing this long enough, and that I've had my fingers in enough pies and done enough things for enough companies, that when someone asks me that question of, I'm going to use right now. Warzone's right kind of on the tip of my tongue, because it's been the topic of choice lately. Someone, I'm not going to name names. I don't remember who it was, but they had asked, in a matter of speaking, I'm paraphrasing, that they said, why do you think you should be the one to redesign this, and should you just listen to the fans and keep what has been working in the past? And I think I understand. I definitely understand the wanting to cling to past versions, to past ideologies, because it is what you know, and it's what you loved in the past, and it's what you are comfortable with. And in most cases, it's what you know has worked, and you don't want to accidentally get involved with something that isn't going to. It's going to change gears. It's going to feel different. It might not be nearly as super exciting initially until you figure out about more about the game. It might play completely different than anything you've ever played before. But what I am saying is, there's a reason why we get chosen to do the things we do. Companies out there like Resnova, like Crafty Games, like Privacy or Press, they don't hire people to do projects that they think they're not going to succeed at. They do the research, and they hire the people that they feel are best for the gig, and that are going to make a professional and profitable product. They're going, and in the case of games, it means they want to make games that you not only want to play, but you want to buy. And you want to buy more of, more cards, of more miniatures, more accessories, what are more expansions in the case of like board games. For video games, DLC is where a lot of companies make a ton of their money, downloadable content, because they have these designers that go, it'd be really cool if we added this, bloop, and that's something that we can do. And what I want more than anything is, I want people to associate my name and honestly, more than anything, I want people to associate my name with my work. And hopefully with that, if I do my job right, with the success of those products, the happy faces of people playing games, the people telling stories about characters that I made 20 years ago. This is what I live for. This is what I want. I want, more than anything, I want my children to remember the characters that I built for their stories. I want one of my best friends. Last night I was playing Xbox with one of my best friends in the world, because he's all alone, no pets, no roommates, no nothing in his apartment. He was like, please play some Fallout with me because I'm lonely, because he can't get out. And so we played a bunch of Fallout last night, and we got on the topic of a new project that I'm working on, not Warzone related, although we did talk about Warzone a bunch. But we were talking about another project, and I don't know if he knew how flattered I was when he said it. he may have just said it and moved on, but he had said something along the lines of, well, the reason they hired you is because they know you're going to do a good job. You've already shown them that you know what you're doing. And that meant a lot more to me than I think that he could know, because he's one of the biggest fans of that license that I know. And the fact that he has my back about what I've done for them in the past, and is asking me when we were talking about the plot of this new thing I'm working on, he had asked me very specifically, don't tell him things, because he didn't want me to spoil it. And that means to me that not only is he excited about the project, about that product, but he's actually going to go buy it and read it, because he doesn't want the plot to be spoiled for him. And that's the reality of it. That's what I want people to watch the channel, who see in my eyes and hear in my voice what I believe in when it comes to our greater industry. I spend topics talking about sometimes dumb things, or little DM tips to try and get people through their next game, or don't want to play a good guy, play a bad guy. These are things that I just, at that week, I decided I wanted to talk about. But overall, I want people to realize that if it weren't for the gaming industry, and the various parts of it that I have managed to be a part of over the years, over the last nearly 20 years, that I would be a much different person. I would be a much different person before I found the love that I have in gaming and in creation, like in actual, making things for others to enjoy, not necessarily just for me. Before I realized that, and the feeling that comes along with that, I was not necessarily I was not as good of a person as I am now, and I can say that pretty wholeheartedly. And finding out that I enjoy making things for people that aren't me. Growing up, I always knew that I loved designing new D&D weapons for me and my friends, or here's a special set of magic for this game that we play for my character to use, or some of my first magazine articles were here's a bunch of martial arts for Babylon 5 characters, because I wanted to play a Babylon 5 martial artist in our local gaming club. A lot of that stuff was very self-centered. It was very, very much the if I have the power to change things for games, change things in the games that I play, I want to do stuff that I'm going to enjoy. And then, when things started to ramp up, and I got some of those initial, I remember very clearly, going to a game store down in Bloomington, Indiana, the Game Preserve specifically, which I don't even know if exists anymore, down in Bloomington. But I went down there. I went in there to pick up the most recent White Dwarf or something along those lines. I was in town for a LARP, and while I was standing at the counter, there were two guys at the back table playing War Machine, and I overheard them. While I was kind of standing around there talking to them, because I knew the guy who worked at the store. I was standing around talking to Kevin, and just kind of back and forth. One of them, their game finished up, and they sat down, and as a lot of us do before we want to, the tedious time of putting away our models and the terrain and things, we talk, just kind of talk shop. And the two of them were discussing a combination of pronunciation, like how to pronounce certain kingdoms and people's names, And they started speculating about why this character did this, why this character was this way. And I remember Kevin poking me and basically being like, "Hey, you worked on that, didn't you?" I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Do they know that?" And I was like, "I doubt it. It's not something I'm gonna like wear on my sleeve. Hey, privateer Arthur. That's just not me." But basically, he sort of let the cat out of the bag, and he was like, "Hey, this is Brian Steele. He wrote most of the initial War Machine." And they're like, "Really? What?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." Red faced immediately. I'm still wet behind the ears. And they started asking me questions about the questions they were asking each other about pronunciation, about what about these two characters, and why did this happen? And so some of these things, I honestly didn't have answers for, because Matt and Jason and we hadn't really come up with that stuff yet. We had ideas, but nothing concrete. But there were a few things, like kind of behind the curtain secrets that I was able to talk to them about when it came to the design of Asphyxius. How did he come about? Why did Vicky and Tenegra end up being twin sisters? These were things that I designed, that I invented, and I spent probably a half an hour talking to these kids about my game. And when I was done, I got up and was getting ready to leave, and one of them asked me for my very first autograph, my very first time of signing a product that I created, not because I was doing it for a friend, that was like, "Hey, will you sign my book?" That sort of thing. For someone that was like, "Hey, this is a rare opportunity. Would you sign my War Machine Prime?" And I remember the very first year that we signed a whole bunch of them at Origins, because we won some Origins awards, and Matt Wilson looked at. I remember making fun of him with our friends. He looked at me and was like, "You need to get yourself some liquid Sharpies. They're the best autograph pens ever." And I remember laughing and being like, "Oh, Matt Wilson's got his favorite autograph pens." Woo! Again, we were friends, and I was just making fun. Brian Snowdy had said the same thing. Then it occurred to me later, it's like, they've signed things for ever as Magic the Gathering artists. They've signed more cards than I have probably even seen in my lifetime. So they would know. And I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe I do need to get some liquid Sharpies." And then I remember in that store signing my first kind of on-the-spot autograph, and I ended up using like a black ballpoint pen and getting really mad at it because it was like sliding all over the glossy page and leaving an indent in the thing. Like, it was not my greatest moment of signing stuff, but the kid was happy. I was overjoyed. He left, and Kevin's like, "How's that?" And I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that just happened." And then fast forward a couple of months, we're getting ready for Gen Con, I think, and I'm looking at my wife and I go, "All right, well, I need to go to Staples to go get liquid Sharpies." And she's like, "Well, we've got Sharpies in the stationery cupboard." And I was like, "I need liquid Sharpies." And I found myself telling her, "Well, I need liquid Sharpies because Matt and Brian say that they're the best autograph pens, and I'm going to be probably signing some autographs." And it was just such a weird feeling of that. That's my life now. That's as a creative, I might be recognized for the things that I create, and people might actually be enamored enough with it that they want to remember that they met me, or that they want to talk about a particular instance or whatever. And it's so weird. It's just a gamer. It's never something that's ever really connected with me. I get it, and I see it more now in the last couple of years, as when I was with Cool Money or Not, when I was with Simon, being in charge of Dark Age and being the face of that game in Wrath of Kings, for the years that I was um, being put on professional videos, being a part of commercials for product. I was flown to I was flown to Ireland for Beasts of War, to do a bunch of videos on our games. And it was awesome. Like, I hope I get to eventually get back over there. Maybe with the resurgence of Warzone, I will. Who knows? But whatever the case may be, I got more used to the concept of, hey, Brian, you've been in this industry now for, well over a decade, and you've made a lot of progress, and you've made a lot of things, and you made a lot of people happy, and they may, you will be recognized. And when I fell out of the limelight, when CMON no longer had a position for me because they were no longer really supporting the games I worked on, and there was not room for me on the design team under Eric and Michael, apparently. I sort of fell out of that mentality. And if it were not for the YouTube groups, or the Facebook groups, constantly contacting me and asking me about these games, and asking me about, I didn't even work for the company anymore, and they're asking me about product and about games, and hopefully I can answer. I was able to answer questions. If it wasn't for the connections that I made while I was there, like the connections heart to heart, like fan connections, I don't think that I'd be where I'm at right now. I don't think that without the strength given to me by people that only knew me because of the games, or because games they play are games I made, those people reaching out and telling me, hey, I got your back, what's the next thing you're working on, those sorts of things, they help me keep it together. They help me realize that, yeah, there's bumps in the road, but overall, industry wise, I have left a mark. I will continue to leave marks, and if given the opportunity, I'm going to keep on keeping on. And it was during that sort of one of those upswings of, maybe people want to hear from me. It's been a while. Maybe they want to know what's going on in my studio, in my life, whatever, that made me want to put together this channel. And then over the course of the year, I got my wife's art company off the ground, Artemis Portrait. She's technically a sponsor of the show, but she makes t-shirts and she makes art prints, and through her we've met a bunch of amazing Hollywood actors that we talk to on a regular basis now. Super nice people that I would have never expected to have conversations with, but we do. I got I had the free time and the gumption to create my own Transformers miniatures game based off of the pre-painted or pre-primed WizKids models that still haven't come out of the Wave 2 yet, but and hopefully at some point I might be able to get the right person to listen to me and buy my rules for that, and you guys will get to play it too. Or at some point, at a show, I'll run an unofficial event and somebody can play it with me. I got hired countless times for small commissions, like writing the occasional D&D commission for Dungeon in a Box. I painted a ton of models on commission. like all of these things, they came together to help me, keep moving on the right track, to keep my bills paid, to keep me in the industry, to keep people thinking. I mean, I hate to say this, but to keep people thinking about me as a possibility, as a potential. I went to a couple of conventions when they were still happening. Stupid virus. Uh, and I had sit downs with the right people at the right times. I managed to score a Shadowrun novella, which led to work within their role playing game industry and a couple of products. And actually, I hadn't mentioned this yet, but the ink is not yet dry on the contract where I'm doing another novella and a full blown novel for Shadowrun now. Like, the words are starting to form. Like, it's one of the things I'm working on for the rest of the year. I managed to get in with my old friends at Big Child Creatives to try and help them get a better U.S. presence, get them into some stores, get some of those amazing products, circulating around, because they are so talented. They are so good at what they do, and not to mention maybe help them get some of the games of their own out in the world, because again, the industry is I don't want to say like ripe for the taking, but it's people are always looking for new cool stuff, and those guys at Big Child, Jose and those guys are so unbelievably talented that it seems like a waste for so much of the US to not realize how cool they are and how amazing they are. So I'm glad that I can give them a hand, and hopefully we can make a bigger footprint for them for when new stuff comes out. I went to Gen Con as a gamer, which was fantastic, but I obviously still had meetings, and one of those meetings was with Crafty Games, who when I initially talked to them, I honestly thought that it was just going to be, hey, we want to borrow you for some narrative here and there. And it turned out to be a much bigger deal. They put me on retainer to work on the new version of Spycraft that we are putting together, headed to you eventually soon. And that's turned out to be a fantastic working relationship. I have weekly, if not sometimes 2 a week, meetings with the managers of that company, and they are great guys. They're amazing guys, and I think that project's going to be a super ton of fun for the people who really want to have that sort of narrative action experience. It's going to be it, and throw in the fact that right there, in the middle of all that, I got to run a charity game filled with industry celebrities for Spelljammer. Something that no one is doing currently. No one is really doing 5e Spelljammer stuff. As far as I can tell, I'm the only one. I started an online 5e Spelljammer game, the Arcane Promise, which is going to be the second episode is going to be airing on our channel next week, I think, if everything goes right. It's just everything. I have made acquaintances. I've turned acquaintances into friends and strangers into acquaintances within the industry and without. It really has just been a roller coaster of a year, and this virus has everybody down, and they're stuck behind closed doors and can't go hang out with your friends, and it's given me a lot of time to work on things. There's a reason why I've got time to take on these contracts. Why I can feel that it's okay for me to work effectively 4 separate 3/4 time jobs. If you add those fractions together, it doesn't work out right, and evil math, my brain should explode. But with the virus and having the extra time at home, and it's working out for now. Obviously if I start fraying at the edges and start losing my sanity, someone will step in and say, hey, maybe you should take a break. But and then and now recently we tack on the this amazing opportunity to reincarnate Warzone in a way that it hasn't happened before, with people that have never, the people who remember the old ways, who love the old ways, and want to see it kind of return, but not with all the same stigma that the old games had. With our own new flash, our own new polish, and we want the we want the fans of all of the previous versions of Warzone to look at this new version and go, okay, it's not what we had before, but man, it's going to be good, and that's what we want. That's what I want. I'm hoping here pretty soon, when I get some opportunity, between writing the novels and short stories and Warzone and all these other things, I want to design maybe a T-shirt for the channel. Might be nice to have a little Tefapin shirt. Who knows? Maybe I'll do like a contest or something for the saying that goes on the back, and see what you guys think. It's been a really good year, weird year, hard year, that I feel it's come around, and a lot of good things are happening now. I feel, I hope that you guys out there in cyberspace land, the fans of the channel, are feeling it too. And that things are going better for you than they were before. And if we were able to be a part of that, that's awesome. I'm glad that even if it was 0.5% of your pleasantries and smiles and happiness came from the fact that we've been doing this for the last year. I'll count that as a win. Maybe not a landslide win, but a win nonetheless. I don't know. I wanted to take today to just kind of put it out there and thank everybody for what you have helped me put together over the last year, what you were part of, even if you may not have known that you were. You might have just been like, yeah, let's click it on a video because it showed up on Facebook. But every subscribe, every like, every comment, it's another little tiny spark that reminds me that I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing, that I'm on the right path, that I'm leaving the marks on the industry and on the world at large that I'm supposed to. I don't claim to be, I'm not supposed to be a doctor. I'm not supposed to be the guy who, saves the kid in the burning tree. I mean, I would if I had to, but that's not what I'm here for. And hopefully I'm doing right by what I am supposed to be here for. Again, I don't really believe in, fate or anything like that, but I have been very lucky to be able to do the things that I do. I hope that, while luck got me into a lot of the doors, I'm hoping that skill has kept me there. But it's been a year. It's been a weird year. And I hope that another year from now, on the 2-year anniversary, we're doing a different video and talking about all the amazing cool things and the product swag and the next convention that you might be able to see me at, and maybe the next podcast that I'm going to be on, or whatever, or discussing my first YouTube royalty check of like 9 cents because we've got enough people subscribed. Whatever. I don't know. I'm rambling. But I did just want to thank everybody for watching and for listening and for being a part of this. Because I needed it more than you guys know. And in the year to follow, we'll change up some stuff. We're going to do some more things. I've already talked to a couple of people about having guests. I mean, I know I had my wife on a while back, but that's because she lives with me, and it's easy to share camera space that way. But I have talked to a few people about actually doing some recorded teleconference interview type things where we can talk about cool stuff over the course of a video with someone else from the industry. So that might be fun and that'd be cool. I expect probably in the next few weeks to do that at least once, because there's a lot of people who are panned in and they are looking for ways to get their digital brain out of whatever closet or motel that they're stuck in. So honestly, if someone that you would like to have me reach out to, like if you're like, oh my god, it'd be great to have this person and this person on your video or whatever, put it in the comments. Maybe I'll reach out to them and we'll get to chit chat. Because that'll be a lot of fun. I made the joke when I was on Alyssa's Twitch the other day that I've never met a microphone that I didn't like, and interviews are the same way. I love being with people. I love talking about them, getting them to discuss things, whether I'm on the Q or the A side of things. I love it. So I'm looking forward to doing more reviews, more interviews, more fun episodes. Hopefully, if I can get if the Transformers Wave 2 models eventually come out and I'll get them painted, I'm gonna do at least one video of us playing my my Transformers miniatures game, so that way we can kind of point at the license holders and go, look at all this fun we're having. You could be making money off of. Yeah, but no, there's the following year we got a lot planned, a lot cool stuff lined up. Just have to make it happen. Got to get it going, and got to make it a reality. And for that to happen, I need you guys to help me grow the channel. So please do the like, subscribe, share, send it around to the various tweetograms and facey spaces. But even if all of that fails and I just end up doing a weekly Life of Bryan vlog about a freelancer who is trying to keep all the pieces of his skull together and his sanity in one piece, I'll still do that. As long as you guys promise to hold up your end of the bargain and go out there, have a good time, and I mean, I know I say it every time, but go out and play some games, because that's what it's going to be about. We'll see you next week. Thanks for a really good year.